how do you handle, meeting a girl and knowing if she's the right one for you, and what is divorce? Why does it happen? And all those things that you wouldn't think of because your parents didn't experience it. It would be kind of a faux pas conversation because you're raised in a Christian household. You go to church every Sunday. You have conservative values. You don't get divorced, so it's not part of your conversation. So as a young man growing up, I didn't get that conversation from my mother or my father. You go to college, and of course, like many of us, you meet a girl and you fall head and heels over love, and you learn what it is, and you learn how people manipulate each other and how you treat each other. And I didn't get married to her, but then you go to school and you get out and you get your law degree, you start working and you're dating and you're doing all these things. But you're now in this generation where kids are getting married, kids are getting divorced a lot more easily, and you don't know how to navigate it. And you go in, and as a man, you realize you're going to lose at least half your stuff, and you're going to probably lose access to your children. 50% is not assumed, even if you've done nothing wrong. You just didn't get along with your spouse and you get broken apart. So you get that kick in the teeth when you least expect it. So that leads to often a high conflict divorce, which in modern times now is a lot more prevalent than it ever was back then when our parents were married. And even the people that got divorced, they do it quietly, divide the money up, and you'd still wonder who's paying who, how are the kids getting their money so they can live. But now high conflict divorce is everywhere. And what causes it and what seems to cause it is fighting over money or fighting over children. I think and I'm probably one of these people, but it's kind of a dying breed where, you learn from your father that you get married, the man takes care of the family household, works hard as he can, pays all the bills. The wife stays at home, raises the kids. If she wants to get a part-time job or even a full-time job later as they grow up, great. But your initial belief system, and you hope to be on the same page with your spouse, is man works hard, man earns the money, wife stays at home, raises the kids. So the end result of that, and with divorce being there and the inequities being there, you have a man who's often earning a lot of money, a wife staying at home. Maybe she's not doing what she should. She's not keeping the house clean, whatever it is that's going to make the man upset. And you have a lot of resentment and a lot of things going on. And then when you split up, there's a lot of anger because on one side the man wonders, okay, I've worked and worked and earned, and the wife's not pulling her weight. And then the wife's going to go, well, I'm at home taking care of these kids, maybe I've given up a career, and I'm really mad that we're getting a divorce. So in my situation, I go through law school, start a business, build it up, and then I get married. I'm 35 years old, so I waited too long to get married for whatever reason. I mean, obviously, you just don't pick someone right off the bat and say, I want to marry him. But um, my person or my situation or my maturity level didn't come into play until I'm 35 years old. So at 35, you're paying back your school loans, you're trying to build a business, you've got all this money into things and you're trying to get it to grow. And you have a house that you've bought, and you meet a woman, and I will say that I thought I'd hit the jackpot. And to this day, as someone who I filed the divorce, which is rare because women usually file 80% of them. I didn't want to get divorced and I didn't want to break up my family, but you see what's going on and you start to get educated. So while you're there working hard, taking care of your family, and you're not knowing what you're doing, is you save every dime you make and you pay everybody's bills, and you're in this house that you're paying for, and you're not getting any financial contribution from a college educated person who's with you in your home. You're learning real quick what's going on, and when things happen that make you go, okay, here's a divorce that's going to take place, and how it takes place and why it takes place, that's another conversation. And I certainly don't do these meetings or videos to bash an ex-wife, but here you are, you get married at 35, you have she's pregnant the first month, you have this beautiful baby daughter. I mean, just everything I'd ever wanted and everything I was so thankful for, married to this beautiful woman who, if I could design a woman physically, it would be her. If I could walk home and say, here's the mother of my kids and how she looks and how it appears, that's her. So I feel like I'm the luckiest man on earth But as you get into it and you pull the wool back and you see what's going on, you now realize that the person you married probably didn't care a whole lot about you and maybe had an agenda, but you know the marriage isn't going to work and it's not going to last unless you're willing to tolerate a lot of things that you shouldn't have to tolerate. We have a second kid 2 years later. And again, this kid, just beautiful, two beautiful, healthy daughters. We're both in our mid 30s, late 30s for me, but you're having children at a time where not only are you on the wrong side of 30 years old, and it's not necessarily the healthiest thing to do, but you know you're going to be parents of teenagers later in life. You're having kids while you're really making your money, and if the marriage is not going to go right, it's going to be a high conflict divorce.